Someone had a question about changing negative thoughts to positive thoughts and this resistance to negative thoughts. And I have explored this in what I think is a video maybe titled The Positivity Trap. And this is experienced on the journey that there's a resistance, rejection of negative thoughts and a clinging to positive thoughts. And this is what I call like the positivity trap. This positive vibes only. Now, when we have this mindset, this idea that I only want to experience positive thoughts only, this is actually suffering. Because one of the forms of suffering is this clinging and aversion. So there's an aversion to negative thoughts and there's a clinging to positive thoughts. So this is suffering thoughts. Now, really, these negative thoughts are not a problem. Just like positive thoughts are not a problem. And even looking at this deeper, the concept of positive thoughts and negative thoughts is just another thought. And when I label the thought as either negative or positive, and then have this preference that I want to experience more positive thoughts and less negative thoughts, this is suffering thoughts. This is suffering. So I use the analogy of the sky. Now, the sky is much like awareness in this sense. It's the sky of awareness. And the positive thoughts are like the white, fluffy clouds. And the negative thoughts are the dark storm clouds. Now, you see how the sky doesn't resist the dark storm clouds. And it doesn't try and hold on or cling to the white, fluffy clouds. It simply lets the clouds pass through. That without any resistance to the clouds, which is symbolic for the resistance to thoughts, the thoughts simply come and go. And this is just the nature of thought, that thoughts are simply coming and going. They're simply appearing and disappearing, much like the clouds. The clouds are simply passing by. They're simply an appearance in the sky. So just like this, the thoughts are simply an appearance in you, awareness. You are just like the sky of awareness, and these clouds are simply appearing in you, the sky of awareness. Now, just like the sky, it's not resisting the dark storm clouds, and it's not holding on to the white fluffy clouds. So just like this, we neither resist negative thoughts and we neither hold on to positive thoughts. The resistance to the negative thoughts, the rejection of the negative thoughts, and the seeking of the positive thoughts or the clinging to the positive thoughts actually just creates more of this suffering. It's just more thought activity. So we don't go about this by trying to override negative thoughts and replace them with positive thoughts. It's by simply witnessing or observing or just experiencing, whatever word you like, just being aware of the thoughts. And this awareness of thoughts neither resists nor holds on to thoughts. by just simply observing, non-judgmentally, which means you aren't even labeling the thought as negative or positive. You're not discriminating these thoughts. You're just allowing the thoughts to pass by like clouds in the sky. And in that allowance, in that non-judgmental witnessing, there's no preference of positive thoughts over negative thoughts. And in that non-judgmental witnessing, there's no suffering thoughts. Just like the sky is always free from the clouds. Even the dark storm clouds do not affect the sky. These clouds leave no trace in the sky. Much like that, the thoughts leave no trace in you, awareness. You, awareness, are unaffected by thought. When we're identified with the thought, then there's this game that plays out that I am using one type of thought to get rid of another type of thought. I will just think positive to then get rid of a negative thought. But that is identifying with the thought. Because that thinker that I think I am is just another thought. No one thought can get rid of another thought. And when you explore this deeply, no two thoughts exist at the same time. You only ever experience one thought at a time. So you're not using one thought to get rid of another thought. In total acceptance of all thoughts, in total allowance of all thoughts, in total freedom of all thoughts are welcome to come and go as they do. And in this total acceptance, there is no suffering. The notion of trying to exclude certain thoughts and trying to hold on to other thoughts just disappears. And in this total acceptance, you start noticing that this identification with thought is no longer present. And you experience less thoughts altogether. That there's no war between positive and negative thoughts. You just simply notice that there's a decrease in the activity of thought, which is much like saying that the activity of the clouds decreases. So there's less storm clouds. There's also less white fluffy clouds. And when the white fluffy clouds appear, so what? And when the dark storm clouds appear, so what? And without this clinging and this aversion to thoughts, without having this preference of one thought over another thought, there's just a decrease in thought activity, which is much like there's less and less cloud coverage. And the experience is peace. that the nature of the sky is peaceful. The sky is not in conflict with the clouds that appear in it. Just like this, the nature of awareness is peace. It's not in conflict with any appearance that appears in it. The awareness is not in conflict with a negative thought, and it's not in conflict with a positive thought. It is beyond both positive and negative thought. To awareness, there's no such thing as positive and negative thought. That's just a label, and a label is nothing more than a thought. That's just simply a thought about a thought categorizing another thought. And you see, without all of this labeling positive and negative thought and trying to push certain thoughts away and hold on to another thought and all of this activity, there's simply a decrease in the thought activity, which is much like saying there's less clouds in the sky today. And the experience is more of what feels like a parting of clouds. That when there's a parting of clouds, there's the experience of the nature of the sky, which is peace. So in this total allowance of the thoughts, you start noticing, it doesn't happen overnight, that there's less and less thought activity. And you start getting more of these glimpses of what feels like the clouds part and there's more and more peace. So you start experiencing your peaceful nature. The sky is experiencing itself. Awareness is experiencing itself. Experiencing the peace that it is. And this taste of peace is both proof and, you could say, almost like a reassurance that, these are probably not the best words here, it's almost like a feedback loop in the sense that the more you simply allow the thoughts to just simply be as they are, without trying to change them, without trying to change a negative thought into a positive thought, without resisting the negative thought, without trying to hold on to the positive thought, without doing any of that, the thoughts are just simply coming and going. And without giving any certain thought importance or value over another type of thought, without identifying with certain thoughts, without creating so much interest in one thought over another thought, without attending these thoughts, without energizing these thoughts, then you just simply know that there's less and less thoughts. The experience is that there's less and less thoughts, and there's more and more peace. So this experience is a lot like the clouds parting. And this gives you that taste of your true nature. Now, even when this happens, it's very sneaky and very common that there then seems to be a preference over no thoughts. I just don't want any thoughts now. First, negative thoughts are the problem. Then, any type of thought becomes the problem. Once you get a taste of positive thoughts, you don't want to experience negative thoughts. And once you get a taste of no thought, then you don't want any thought. But this is still a subtle duality. This is still a subtle preference. It's still a very subtle aversion. It's the aversion to thoughts and the clinging to no thought. So even this is then seen. So there's a total indifference. If there's thoughts, so what? If there's no thoughts, so what? It's this indifference, this total acceptance. The total acceptance of no thought, the total acceptance of thought. This total acceptance is peace. There's no peace without acceptance. And as long as there is not acceptance, I mean, there's always acceptance, but as long as there's rejection, I should say, because acceptance is the absence of rejection. So as long as there's rejection, there's going to be a split. Because you're trying to get rid of something that cannot be gotten rid of. If everything is one and whole and complete, nothing can be added or removed. So this total acceptance is total peace, which is also total freedom. And I can go on with any of these words. But this total freedom to simply accept all thought or no thought, the experience is that you're experiencing that peace with thought or without thought. That actually the type of thoughts, the amount of thoughts, and if there is thoughts or no thoughts, does not affect peace. Because peace is unconditional. Peace is experienced in the presence of thoughts or in the absence of thoughts. There's no condition for peace. It's not subject to the type of content or if there is content. So we're exploring this pretty deep, but hopefully you're able to follow and perhaps got some insights in this. But check it out for your own experience. See what's really happening with these thoughts. Is there subtle resistance to negative thoughts? Is there trying to change negative thoughts into positive thoughts? Is there a holding on to positive thinking? Is there a preference? No thinking to thinking. No thought to thought. Or is there just simply total acceptance of what is? Hopefully this helps. See you in the next one.